it's a sort of a repeat of 2020. I would love to have had some different candidates.
Virginia voters have differing opinions today as they head to the polls for Super Tuesday. 15 states and 1 territory are holding their primary elections today to make the view of the 2024 presidential race a little more clear. There are 865 Republican delegates up for grabs today, with California having the most to give. For former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, this is likely her last chance to slow former President Donald Trump on his way to that nomination.
Analysts are actually saying that today's results could also say a lot about the future of the Republican Party as well. The nominations are effectively sealed already, and voters have joined Trump and Biden in turning their attention to the general election. Many voters today expressed concerns about both candidates' age. Biden, 81 years old, Trump is 77. The former president today called Biden the worst president in history. Biden warned black Americans specifically that returning former President Trump to the White House would be disastrous. Now, at 5 this evening, Iowa Democrats will start releasing the results of the presidential preference cards. This comes after the Democratic National Committee stripped Iowa of its first-in-the-nation privileges. Democrats met on caucus night. You may remember they talked about party business. Activists had to make their choice for a presidential candidate using a preference card that they sent through the mail rather than declaring it in person on caucus night. That was the big change. And KCRG TV9 Iowa political director Dave Price is joining us now. So we're waiting for these numbers. It's kind of anticlimactic. What should we be looking for, though?
Yeah, that's probably the right word in a lot of ways. The most interesting thing about this perhaps is just to see how this new process goes, right? So instead of everybody gathering on caucus night and dividing into groups the way the Democrats do it and decide which candidate they want, then they do all this complicated math, and then eventually, hopefully, most years that night we'd get some results that didn't happen in 2020. This time around, since it's an incumbent running, it already takes away some of the excitement of the night, but it will be interesting to see how Biden does. Obviously, he's going to win here, right? And he has very token opposition, but there is a place in there where you could actually select uncommitted, more as a protest vote. Maybe some of the ways that we saw in Michigan with Democrats who are not happy with the way the president has stuck with Israel and not done enough to protect Gaza, for example. So we will see if there's any kind of protest movement like that. We haven't seen that same type of organization here, though, that we saw in Michigan.
Yeah, but you are underlining something, and that is actually almost a vote against Joe Biden's age among Democrats, or as you're pointing out, his policies when it comes to Ukraine or Israel. So this is really a big test of Joe Biden's popularity?
Yeah, maybe. It's just you're talking about so few people. They had about 20,000 people or so who requested the cards, and then tonight at 5 we'll get a pretty decent idea about how many people sent those back in. They just had to be postmarked today, so you may still have some more trickle in over the next couple of days. But big picture, 20,000 out of 400,000 plus registered Democrats, plus the registered no party folks who could come over, or Republicans who wanted to come over and vote as Democrat. So you're not talking about a big slice of the pie here. If there is that organized effort, then sure, maybe we could see some kind of protest vote against Biden. But we did talk to the party chair today, Rita Hart, about longer term what they're going to have to figure out here, because there's another Des Moines Register Iowa poll out today, and it showed that fewer than 30% support the job that Joe Biden is doing in that state. So this enthusiasm that is not there for President Biden in our state could be concerning for Democrats writ large as they try to whoop everybody up heading from now until November.
Yeah, the excitement may not be there. You said you talked to Rita Hart. Let's be honest, she was stuck, and the Democrats were stuck between a rock and a hard place with the Democratic National Committee pretty much saying, you're not going to be first in the nation. This was really a quick stopgap plan to keep the caucus alive, but not, anger the national Democrats. So is this going to be a test of whether this format's here to stay?
Yeah, that's such a great point. This is really threading a needle. Rita Hart knows that people were mocking what they came up with. And is this really a primary light here, since you're doing a mail-in aspect of this. You know, a caucus traditionally everybody has to get there in person. So it's much more like a primary. She's trying to thread a needle, tried to figure out a way with party leaders to keep Iowa as relevant as possible. In the end, it didn't work to keep them first. And who knows from 2028, is Joe Biden the president then? Is Donald Trump the president? Has something else happened? I mean, 4 years from now is a long time away. So this is a test run. They're going to look and see how it worked, and it's done on a small scale since you're only talking about maybe 20,000 people max, so they can figure it out. Did it work? Is there anything we like, anything we'd want to change? But going forward, this may be the way to go, some kind of mail-in version. As we know, though, caucuses are not very popular nationwide, so very few states are even using that format anymore.
All right, thank you, Dave. Dave Price, our Iowa political director, live in Des Moines tonight. We appreciate it. Look forward to seeing from you actually in about an hour when some of these results are coming in. And KCRG TV9 does have unique coverage of the Super Tuesday results nationwide. We'll have expert analysis as not only the numbers start being crunched and they start coming in, we'll also feature reports and reaction from local stations across the country. So our live coverage starts at 6 tonight on Local News Live. It's streaming on our website and on the KCRG News app.